The Brooklyn Nets have completely turned their season around. After starting off the season not looking like a team that was going to do anything amazing, they now have one of the best defenses, one of the most efficient offenses, and they have the second best record in the Eastern Conference. And bringing in a coach change, going to Jacques Vaughn after Steve Nash, amongst other things, and improved play have completely saved the Brooklyn Nets season. We're going to talk about it right after this.
The number one place for your daily basketball fix, NBA Central. Hosted by the one and only CEO Haize.
All right, basketball fans, listen, welcome to NBA Central. I'm one of the hosts here, Haize. And so today we're going to talk about the Brooklyn Nets. This was a team that coming in at the start of the season just looked like a team that was kind of lost. Like they were just at a loss, right? They were aimless. They didn't know what they were going to do. It just looked like a team that, the parts didn't quite fit together. But the Brooklyn Nets are now holding the second best record in the Eastern Conference, and they're doing so because of their defense. The Brooklyn Nets right now, by statistics, have the seventh best defense in the NBA, but in the last handful of games, about the last 15 games or so, they've actually had the third best defense. And a big part of that is the defensive play of two players, and that is Nick Claxton and Ben Simmons. Now, Ben Simmons' scoring has not come along in the way that some people hoped that it would, but defensively, he's been everything. He leads the team in assists and steals and has had a big impact on what that defense does. When you look at him and Nick Claxton and what they're able to do in guarding players at multiple positions, it's really been kind of the anchor in saving the Brooklyn Nets season, not completely. And we'll talk about the offensive side of the ball and how Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving have completely saved that side of the ball with them. But I want to talk about two players that I think sometimes get lost in just how important they are to the Brooklyn Nets turning around their season. Ben Simmons, who's woken up in many ways, like I said, not offensively like some people had hoped, but he is now having the defensive impact that many people expected him to be able to have coming into the Brooklyn Nets. And then when you add in Nick Claxton, leading the team in rebounds and blocks, 8.5 blocks per game, I'm going to say already 8.5 rebounds per game and 2.5 blocks per game from him, it's been huge. And he's also averaging 12 points per game. Again, not anything to necessarily scream home or call home about, but he's had these two players have been so important in the brand of defense that the Brooklyn Nets are able to play. And you see the impact, you see the results of that by where they stand right now in the Eastern Conference. And then you add into that Kevin Durant averaging almost 30 points per game, Kyrie Irving 27 points per game. These, what they're able to do. And the one thing that with the Brooklyn Nets and the defensive side, looking at their offense, they aren't a team that necessarily takes a ton of threes. They aren't a team that's averaging a huge number of points. They're actually right in the middle of the pack. They're the 15th. They only average 114 points per game, which is good enough for 15th. Right above the Chicago Bulls as far as averaging points per game, but the record is so different because of the brand of defense they've been able to play. It makes it so much easier for those players on the offensive end to go out and do their thing. And Kevin Durant hasn't been a slouch defensively himself either, right? That's it. And the Brooklyn Nets, over the course of the season, holding opponents to 111 points per game. But like I said, it's been even bigger than that the last few games or so. The Brooklyn Nets having the highest field goal percentage at 51% in the NBA. Second to them and close is the Denver Nuggets, who are also above 50% slightly, but those are only two teams as a team averaging higher than 50% shooting as a team. The three-point shooting isn't the best, 39% three-point range. They average 31 three-point attempts per game, which again isn't amazing. It isn't towards the top of the league. It isn't at the bottom of the league either. It's towards the bottom. The 24th. They're 24th in three-point attempts per game. So with that being said, looking at the way that and this is why it's important to not count out a team so early in the season and think it's too far gone for a team to turn around their season. And the thing that we haven't talked about yet is how important the coaching change has been for the Brooklyn Nets. And Jacques Vaughn isn't like this world beater of a coach. He isn't an amazing coach by any stretch of the imagination, but he is a coach that the players seem to buy into more. He has a plan and a system, and he's figured out a way to better utilize and balance out the play of this roster. The Brooklyn Nets have completely turned their season around, and it's been great to see as somebody who just likes to watch good basketball. They're on a 10-game winning streak right now. That's how the season has gone for the Brooklyn Nets. Just playing out of their minds lately. And not only that, have they won 10 in a row, but they've won 14 out of their last 15 games. Again, with stifling defense, moving the ball around. Ben Simmons, even though he's not having the biggest, not even averaging double-digit points per game, he still found a way to be utilized in that offense where it allows for other players to be put in good situations. It's like you can't count teams out. And as their confidence builds and as their trust in one another works out, and when you look at like going back to look at the trade with the Philadelphia 76ers that sent James Harden there and brought Ben Simmons there, I'm back on record. Again, that's over on Chicago Bulls Central. I don't know if you guys follow me over there, but I said then that I think the Brooklyn Nets won this trade. Now, then I did expect Ben Simmons to have a bigger impact offensively, but when you look at the balance of this roster, Seth Curry and how he's been coming along as well, Joe Harris, him, not doing what people thought once was that he would do, but like just how this team is coming together and playing has been huge, and it's been fun to see. And they have now gone from at the start of the season looking like one of those teams that people were going to say, hey, maybe you may have to blow this up. And it's still kind of an uncertain future with Kyrie Irving going into free agency, things like that. But this team has grabbed their destiny by the horns, and they are completely guiding it, and very well at the end of the season could be looked at as a team that is fighting their way to get into an NBA Finals. But let me know what you guys think down below. What do you think about the season that the Brooklyn Nets have had thus far? Do you think their recent play is going to be sustainable for the rest of the season? And then where do you think they could finish once the playoffs are around? Let me know all that down below. Sound off on anything. Thank you so much for the support and recent growth of this channel. And we're going to get to posting content a little bit more regularly, and especially some breaking news things is that. Let's sound off as well and let us know what do you want to see from this channel as we continue to try to grow it out. But you can follow me at CEO Haize. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text and our voicemail, 773-270-2799. We are soon to be one of the premier places for NBA content. Love you guys, man. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.